Hi, I'm Jayashree and I'm going to talk to you about features of Appraise. Appraise is about powering modern open talent experience. It's also about redefining talent management using social recognition as a platform. So, what Appraise does is it lets you appreciate anybody in the organization, but based on what they have demonstrated. Was it a value or a competency or a skill? And in what context and what was the outcome? So, once you do that, the person who gets the recognition gets full information on what he or she is being recognized for, and in that process the organization also can create analytics which will be helpful in talent identification, talent promotion, learning and development, investment. So I'm going to talk to you about the basic features of Appraise and what other features do we also have. Once you log into Appraise, this is the screen which you will land into, and it is like a Facebook type of an interface where you will see news feeds on who has appreciated whom and for what. So, creating an appreciation, you have certain default recognitions which you can do, or you can go ahead and start entering your recognition for somebody. So, I'm going to go ahead and do a good job on expense report, and you can appreciate a single user, or you can appreciate multiple users, or you can even create your own groups and appreciate an entire team. And what is the important thing is, what are you recognizing this person for? Here Nandini is appreciating Raj, and for what? Right? What was the value or the skills or competencies which Raj has displayed? And say, for example, I'm going to go ahead and take he's displayed ASP.NET, and in terms of competencies, he has demonstrated analysis, and I'm going to say that. And in what context? Okay, Raj demonstrated this. In what context? Was it a project, or was it a report, or was it for another meeting, or was it in what crucial activity it was? So you can go ahead and add those, and this is like a location tag in your Facebook. So you go ahead and say, for this person, it's about the proof of concept, and what was the outcome? What was the outcome of that person demonstrating that value? So if you call that out, say here I'm going to say sales, then the person Raj gets a meaningful recognition, and in that process we also get a lot of analytics. And if when somebody wants to recognize somebody, they also may want to send an audio clip, or they want to add a picture, or they want to do a video. You can go ahead and do a media upload here. And then you have options to make the recognition public or private, or to the team or the manager, and the default is public. And once you go ahead and post it, then the appreciation is done. So when somebody gives a recognition and gets a recognition, the person who gets a recognition also accumulates points, and that's how the gamification is built in. And if you the HR or the admin will have the admin dashboard and the password, and once you onboard users, and you need to go in and do a few settings which will add the values, competencies and skills of the company. And it comes with a set of values and competencies, but then you can go in and add those if they are not there. You get to define your geographical locations, your line of business and the business vertical, and you can, and then like frequent flyer points, you do accumulate points, and you can get define silver, gold, platinum and the CEO club, or you can add multiple medallion status. So once those are defined, Then, as and when the recognition happens, people start collecting points, and when they reach a certain level of point, then they are eligible for a reward. And we are calling it social recognition. Let me talk about that a little. So now we did go ahead and did Nandini appreciated Raj, and so what that means is others can go like it, and Raj can go ahead and share it with his Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn if the company allows sharing it to the social media. If that is completely configurable again, but if the company says overall I'm okay with people sharing to the social media, but there are some key projects which I don't want it to go to the social media and they are confident, then there is a way you can do that. And then in the admin settings you will see keywords, and once if people go ahead and put in those keywords, then those are confidential information and it will not allow to share it to the social media. And this is about pushing to the social media. And there is another part to the social recognition where you pull from social media. Say if you have employees, say if Nandini Ravi is facing the customer or a partner or the supplier, and you want the customer or the partners to give to send appreciation to Nandini, if you send a survey at the end of the year to get the feedback, 99.99% people will not fill it, right? Instead, you go ask your customers or partners or suppliers, hey, if you want to send some appreciation or give feedback, go to a company Facebook page or the Twitter handle and say hashtag employee did a great job, then we will pull that information in. Or if you're saying, hey, so let me see that, like I'll show you, like Nandini was received 3 internal appreciations and 2 external appreciations, right? These external appreciations are the ones which come from the social media. So if you go looking at the external, so it came from Facebook, so that's what it is here. So if you don't want to clutter your company Facebook or the Twitter handle, then there is another URL which the employee can share with their customers or the partners or the suppliers, and that is and they can use it as a signature URL in their and the email signature. And once you go ahead and click on that, it takes them to a page which is very simple for them to use in terms of to give immediate feedback on the employee servicing them. So it's basically they can go say what they want to say and the email and the company, and then they get to pick which are the categories for which they want to appreciate, and these are generally what you use when there is a customer and an employee relationship is there, and then you go ahead and submit. So once you go ahead and submit, then it will show up as notification in the employee for the employee screen, and then the employee can add to their profile or not. Since it's coming from outside, we always give the option to the employee to whether they want to add it to their recognition profile or not. So this is about appreciation, right? This is about recognition. So we know that some companies do want to also have what is called as, how do I give feedback? And it's not always about appreciation. Can I do can I give a critical input or constructive feedback to the employee? We don't want to call it as feedback. We believe in what is called as a feed forward, based on Dr. Marshall Goldsmith's, who is the world's #1 coach, his theory on feed forward. Feed forward is always about what you want the person to develop on. And so here it will be like, and it will never allow you to use negative language. It always has to be a positive language. You cannot say you're not good at, but you can say you need to improve on, say I'm going to say business acumen. And this is always to one person. It is not to a team. It is only to a single person. And you can also, if it is tied up with the goal management, or if you have defined goals as part of Appraise, you can even say, in this, for this particular goal, is what you need to improve on. um, and then the category is, because this is where people always don't know what to really call out for, and this kind of makes it much more meaningful for the person to tell exactly what you want the other person to work on. And because it helps them by giving the values or the skills or the competencies. And this is totally in opposite to the recognition, so this is very private, or it is only to the person you're giving the feed forward to, or to them and the manager, or just the manager. And this is not shown on the feed, it is only visible to the person and the manager of the person who is receiving it, depending on what you have said. Let me talk a little bit about how you can gamify it, because that's another thing which you want to see, how you can motivate your employees to use Appraise. So, and this rewards management can be done at the business vertical level, or you can do it at the line of business or the geography levels. So you define those, and then you go ahead and say the different medallion levels if you have configured. Say for example silver medallion, and then you say how many points that the person needs to get to reach that status. Once they reach the status, that medal shows up on their profile. So anybody looking at the profile in Appraise so knows that they have got so many recognition points. And also another thing is, so you can go ahead and define those different medallion levels here. And then another thing is, for the eligible points for rewards, what is the minimum number of points they need to get to start getting rewards. And this is again completely configurable about how you want to set it up. And points per appreciation is how many points do you want to give the person who gets recognition. And it could be 50, 100 or 10 depending on how you configure it. And what is the value you want to give an appreciation point? Is it this could be a monetary value or a non-monetary value. You could just give what the value is, or it can be even like 1 USD or 1 euro or 5 depending on what your budget is. And once you define those, then we do have tie-ups with certain marketplaces, but we generally leave that blank and ask what the customer wants. And depending on what their option in terms of tying up with the marketplace, we do that. Or you can always do your custom entry. You say, hey, we know what type of awards we want to give, and we already have a list, and that's what we want to use. You can go in and start adding those vouchers here, saying what is the reward name, what's the description, and how many points, and put in those images, and then you can start using it. Right, so that's the how you add the rewards management. And then people start accumulating points, and you see the medals and everything coming up. And whenever somebody is ready for a reward, what happens is the manager will get a notification saying this person is ready. In this case, the Nandini is also a manager, so we are going to go to the dashboard which the managers look at. And managers, when they get notification, they will get a notification of who is ready for a reward, and then they can go in and accept or reject. And if there is a budget allocated for a manager, this is where the budget will be, and depending on what the budget amount is, the available amount is shown as and when they use it. So we have an option to transfer amounts to another manager, because typically during the year end you will find one manager has a lot of money left in his rewards budget, whereas there are certain managers who have used everything. So there is an option to even transfer the amount. And then you can, if your company has a system of using other kind of awards like employee of the month, employee of the year, or the service awards, or like sales performer of the year, or any other criteria you have, any other rewards, you can go in and define those here in the awards and badges, and say what is the frequency, how often do you want to give this award, is it monthly or quarterly or yearly, and how many rewards across the organization, and you can also select the department, whether it's HR or the manager, and just the image, right? So once you do that, then all this, so then if it is the manager in his or dashboard will see this badge approval, where they can go in and nominate the person for the badge category and users, select the users who report to them, and then give a citation and approve, and then that will show up on as a notification for all employees, as well as they will see it on their profile with the displayed image. And so this is about the rewards and the recognition. And in addition, which is the basic of the entire appraise, is all about the social recognition. And but with the social recognition, I said the company also gets to see a lot of data. So what happens is, when you have the admin access, you will see the dashboard, and this dashboard every manager also sees for his or her team. So what happens is that is, in this one dashboard, you can see what is it that your team or the organization is demonstrating on a day-to-day basis. What are the values, or is your culture, the company culture, is being reflected in the employees' behaviors. So you will see what cultures are there, what are the values they are demonstrating, what are the skills which they are demonstrating on a daily basis, because the skill inventory is a big problem for the companies, and you don't have to go, it's very hard to collect the data on what they are demonstrating on a regular basis. But once you have the appraise, when people are appreciating them for that, then you know people are demonstrating this at their best levels, right? So if you're looking to, you have a new project and you're looking for a talent for that particular project, you can go click on, say for example, this is about UI UX design, and you want somebody with creativity, then you exactly know who has been demonstrating and how many times they have received appreciation, and then you can go in and get that. So that's easy to identify talent. Say about promotability of the candidate, then you know exactly who has been demonstrating competencies beyond their levels. And then so it's also about where do I invest my learning and development. Say for example, I am a sales organization and I look here, nobody has demonstrated interpersonal skills, or the customer service is only 6.1%, then I'm going to think, seems to be some issue here. So maybe I want to go and invest my learning and development dollars in for that one. Or if you're so another way to motivate employees is, if you have employees by values, top skills employees by skills, top employees by competencies, and you can project them onto the screen, and that will also motivate the employees. So there are, and then if you are a user of Slack, so one thing about Slack is, if people are using Slack or Microsoft Teams, we do have bots. So when you integrate with Slack, what happens is, when you say good job as part of your conversation, these bots will come up and ask you to say, hey, who do you want to appraise, and then for what, and then it will show the appraise in the Slack conversation, as well as it will update the tool as well. So it's similarly for the Teams bots as well. There are other features which I will talk to in the other videos about, like happy meter is one of the things if you want to do an immediate pulse, or if you want to do a instant poll, we have a poll feature, or we have an ask HR anonymously or with their name about the questions, or if a company wants to do some kind of a communication to their employees, they can do via the events and the messages. And so when we do that, what happens is, when we go back here, you will see that it is displayed on everyone's screen in terms of what is the instant poll or the events or the messages, and then you'll see the top three appraisers, who has been awarded what badges, and so that and this is not only a desktop app. So the beauty of it is it's also a mobile app. You have it on Android as well as the iOS version, and that will actually, because then it becomes much more easy to communicate messages to the employees and have them be part of it, and the recognitions are always instant. They don't have to wait to get back to their seats to do it, since they always carry their mobiles. So in the next video, I will talk about the other features, and this is all the Appraise basic version. And so if you have any questions, feel free to reach us at info@appreiz1.